of those we know out in our networking circles, Happy Neighborhood Project, Unalignable, and many, many more with Helpopedia and with Spirit of the Game. This broadcast is powered by Spirit of the Game. And again, with Spirit of the Game, we're into accountability. So we're going to have a little accountability with yours truly, Emily Gomer. When she comes on here, it is 1 minute broadcast, and broadcast that she was supposed to start did not start with her. So she is tardy, she is late, and we're going to have a little reckoning with Emily Gomer. You're going to have team development in action right here at the World of Ability. Emily reported several guests for today's show. And so this is a 2-hour broadcast. We do hold it in open house format for our guests. Emily Gomer is here. Emily Gomer, take it over. This is your show. Here we go. 2 minutes into it. Let's get it going. Finally, here we go. Oh, look at that. We're playing the spotlight game here. On, off, in, out. Real created July 26, 2020 with the first...
Which we just celebrated yesterday. With yesterday being the July 26th. But welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer and a podcast engineer here. And so this World of Ability is a weekly show that we do on Saturdays between 1 and 3 p.m. Central, and we'd love everybody to join us. You don't need to have a disability in order to join us, but since we're all about all abilities and so on, and as Kurt was saying before, the show and network were started 4 years ago on July 26, 2020, which we just celebrated yesterday, the passage of the ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act, by then George H.W. Bush, which is now like 34 years ago. And so this is all kind of in connection with all of that. And Kara, I'm going to pass it over to you to kick us off, since I am getting a phone call from one of our contacts here. So, Kurt, can you come in here and say any more?
Sure. So, again, in our work here, I kind of use what I call a 13-month rule. So I kind of figure that life is short. Some few people are able to live to be, 100 years old or older. So within 13 months, it's something where it's pretty tried and true, showing of our character, what we do within a year plus. And that's kind of how we handle the programming here. And so we look for our unique opportunities to bring in particular considerations for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, the deaf community, the blind community, people with physical disabilities, those with a goal of substance use reduction, folks who live in chronic pain, and those with a mental health diagnosis. So with all of this, World of Ability podcast got inspired by what we were doing in 2020 with the Disability Channel. We had a lot in the works starting already coming into January 2020. I found the Disability Channel on LinkedIn.com. In my profile and looking at my network, it showed me people you may know, and it brought to me the Disability Channel. And I did not know in January 2020 a Disability Channel, but I was interested. It kind of had me at hello with just seeing the work that they do. And I called them up and I talked to Jay Stoyan and told him about what we are doing with Global Ability Fest. And he decided that the Disability Channel is going to support us in that. And with that, with October 31st, 2020, we worked, with Hope Instilled to deliver everyone in. And so from that, everything kept building up. And we have our chief host of the World Ability podcast right now, Emily Gomer, back, also as podcast engineer, scheduler, virtual assistant. And so it seems like, Emily, you fielded your phone call. So I'll give you the reins back. Take it away, Emily.
So one of the, it's just one of our guests in link to join us right now, but I see that we have one of our guests here, Dan White, who I believe we got from the Disability Channel. And so I'm going to bring Dan in here. So Dan, are you there? Are you ready to able to say anything?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sounds good. And nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And how about first things first? How about you? I say a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Well, I'm a disabled veteran, U.S. Army. In the last few years, I've been trying to get my music out there. I've been playing for over 30 plus years, but I've always been doing covers. But now I've decided to go ahead and start writing some. So I'm kind of floating in the country genre right now. So singer-songwriter, and I've just recently started recording my songs in Nashville and putting them out there on like Apple Music and Spotify, all the streaming type sites. But I'm also, one of my songs that I felt deeply about is called 22, which deals with veteran suicide. 22 is basically the kind of what they think of as the national average of everyday veterans who commit suicide. So that was one of the songs I put out there to bring awareness to veteran suicide and to help other veterans who may be in dark times, maybe consider other options.
Yeah, this is awesome. I know you're connected with the Disability Channel. Here, I'm talking about you. Yeah, that's awesome. I know you're connected with Jay and the Disability Channel. We're also
right, and also Big Records.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're also working with other veteran organizations, Project Die Hard, which is a nonprofit in Kentucky, veteran run, and then Garrett is the chair for Spirit of the Game and the Impact All Veterans. Can you want to come in here and say anything, or do you have any questions for Dan? Anything?
Sure. Welcome, Dan. Thank you for joining our show, and I appreciate all of the background and what you've been doing with Jay Stoyan, our friend and partner with the Disability Channel. We just were on with Jay earlier today, just about an hour ago. We were talking away with him, and we've got a lot in the works, throughout the rest of the year. So, Dan, you're part of the excitement, and we appreciate the music you produce and that you're in the fold and doing what you do to support your fellow veterans. And I don't know, Dan, if you've had much background from what Jay has been working on and how he's introduced us, but perhaps Emily just introduced you to Project Die Hard with Brian Gibson, one of our Army veterans, and he's a survivor of suicide ideation, and he's got quite a story about how he was there with the gun. And then he got a phone call, and it was about plans with a biker event and so forth. So having plans is what saved Brian Gibson. And so for a few years, I've been working with Brian and trying to take a deeper dive. For about a decade, I've been aware of this crisis, really, to look at how the suicide rates are going up. And so I've taken on the practice, Dan, of professing around the world that not a one of us, not you, not me, not Emily, not Jay, not Brian Gibson, nobody on the planet, not our president. There's nobody in the world that has a handle on veteran suicide, because if anybody did, the rate would be going down, Dan, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So this is something where, Dan, we enjoy joining forces with somebody like you and helping share your music out there and make this a bigger and broader thing, because Brian Gibson constantly talks about teamwork makes the dream work. And so together each achieves more. So even though none of us have the answer, together we find the answer. Right, Dan?
Right.
Yeah. So so a little bit more about your music, Dan. What is the genre again? What, are you a country singer, or how do you sing? What's your genre? I'm actually not familiar yet with it.
Right now, all my songs are kind of released under the country genre label. But I do have like some Southern rock influences and things like that also in there.
Okay. And I know as someone, Jay had something being done with acapella. Was that you, or did you do acapella with Jay in any situation or something, or is Jay just promoting your recorded music?
I think he's just promoting my stuff because of the tie also with big records.
Okay. Yeah, very good. So yeah, and the work I'm doing with Jay as a partner, I started with him as an ambassador of the Disability Channel, and then we evolved a partnership with Project iHeart and Brian Gibson, and so I basically taken on the side of being an ambassador with Project iHeart, and that we all joined forces with this as a priority element. And then Emily and I, with my wife Sue and others, we work a lot on working in concert with media and live streaming and all the television, and what we do with radio. We're working with River West Radio over here, and so just trying to ramp up and amp up all of our resources to get this out there and create an outlet for messages that are conducive, favorable, and supportive to veterans. And then in the end of it all, life and days and everything going on improves for all of us. It's kind of like all ships rise with the tides type of thing. So, Brian Gibson, shares with us that veterans are, I believe, something like a single digit percentage. It's like 7, 8, 9% of population, but then the veteran suicides represent over half of all suicides here in the States. So it's just a very disproportionate situation in the lives of veterans. So to build up with what we're talking about here, Dan, you're noticing that in our Zoom session, we have Marion Waikiki and we have Christian with EC Marketing and so forth coming on in here. We want to give a chance for these guys to come in and dive into this veteran realm with us. Christian, are you there? Ready to go? Sound check, Christian. Is that a yes, Christian, or you need some time?
No, sorry. My headphones were connected, but no audio, so was on. So I missed everything that you just.
Yeah, I'm just doing a sound check, Christian. We're talking about supporting veterans. We have Dan here, who is a musician. He's got songs released out at the time being under the country genre. And he's got a song, titled 22. And it's about the statistic discovered a couple decades ago about 22 veterans a day at that time committing suicide. And then we're talking about how that, loss of veterans to suicide rate is going up, not going down at all. And so we're in this discussion. I'm basically talking about marketing, and then here you are, Christian, coming on in. So I want to see if you wanted to speak a little bit to your love for veterans and what's going on with your marketing and how we can work together to get Dan's music out there far and wide, this 22 song out there to millions and billions of people. What do you think, Christian?
100%. Let me tell you, again, this is, I won't start the video because we're going to get choppy. We'll get buffering and all of that stuff. So, but I am present. I am here. Let me not make this about me at all. I am here to support our veterans. The sacrifice that is made when it's enlisted is a family event. Then you serve this country and sacrifice so much, and your family sacrifice with every enlistment. with every enrollment. They serve with you. Then you go through so many things just in boot camp, and then the actual experiences of those that actually get stationed and have to endure, different bases and things like that. Then you come back and there are concerns and issues and conditions, and we're not supporting you with a red carpet. Are you kidding me? What every championship team gets after they win, that should be on every single platform and every single coming back for our development troops. 100%. But better yet, resources should be available. We shouldn't have to jump through so many hoops in order to help those that have already done so much. So absolutely. Country music, man, now that's something with the twin. You know why they started playing country records backward?
Because everything came back.
Because you get the car back, you get your wife back, you get the house back.
See, that's how I know I'm around my people. That's how I know that we get it. We get it. But let's go truly to what that is. And it's just the love. I mean, that's country music, right? Country. I mean, it's in it in itself. But the folklore that goes around it. So, man, I definitely dropped that link. What can we, with marketing, one of the things that I was just telling is whether it's a nonprofit, or whether it's a startup with the solopreneur, it does not matter. We forget in 2024 basics of the internet and basics of business. Now, I wouldn't think you'd understand that because you're not a marketer. You're not an internet web guy. You are a musician. So you have basics that you learned, whether it's guitar or lyrics or whatever it is that you are in your instrument, body, talents, gifts. You have basics that you learned that I am clueless about. So part of the thing that I like to do, and I always do, even if you don't work with me, is I like to get to know the vision, the mission, and where I can best serve. Because there are things that I can suggest, and no, you don't have to pay me for it. Again, we're here to uplift, we're here to support, and especially with the organization like Project Die Hard that you got going on, Kurt, some of the other stuff that you got, H&P, and I am here to disrupt industries and to shake up some things because, there's a lot of things that are presented one way, including benefits for our veterans, that aren't distributed as they're presented, or they're not being actually serviced as they're presented. And again, that goes back to me. I have a dear friend. We share a mutual friend, Alan, that is kind of going through a bit of a situation. And so, let's help and support and meet them where they're at. So it is very saddening that the rate of veteran suicide is increasing, heartbreaking, and that just sat in my chest when you said that. It's going in the wrong direction, and I think that's, as a world, the deception from outer forces have us tricked and go into deep depressions, go into those thoughts. And I am no veteran, so please, at all, I'm here to support. I do have family members. We do have nieces and nephews and uncles and things like that are currently also serving and have served. So with that, I will say is though that as a male, we do take on different things and different responsibilities. And I have been in down spots and places in life where it didn't seem like it was going to get better. So I think that part of that, any resources that you guys can drop for support, we just need to listen. We talk about this all the time. Being kind to one another makes a big difference. And being kind is just sometimes listening, supporting, and not listening. What my kids taught me is don't listen to reply. Seek to understand. Listen to shut up. And so, yeah, man, well behind it. Uh, I see Dan's hat, grumpy old vet. Again, we can't be that grumpy. If we got a smirk out, we got a smirk out of Dan. So I always go around, and I used to have that tough exterior. And again, I know it's wired. And as men, we're taught to not cry, not show emotions, and that's truly unbearable. And I promise you, that's not okay. We shouldn't stifle our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, and things like that. So I've learned to, and we definitely will start video and just a glimmer of what we have is goatee and bald head, and that's who I am. And I'm telling you, it's gonna buffer and do all of that stuff. So I used to have to, and where I come from in the streets in downtown San Diego, southeast San Diego, and even here in North County, San Diego, where we grew up, it wasn't the nice side of the tracks. So you had to have that exterior. You had to have that tough exterior. You had to walk around almost kicking everything in your path, because if you didn't, somebody else would get into and intimidated. There's always drugs, gangs, alcohol. There's violence. There's things that are happening in the home. So definitely understandable that some of that wiring is obviously wrong, but it could be cultural. It could be community wise. It could be inherited. It just depends on that. But what I like to do is change is make somebody smile. If I can make somebody smile, and that's what I do all day, and I know that I'm reflecting because I slip, and it fails me a lot of the times with my closest. I'll get grumpy with my kids because they haven't picked up, and it's like, wait, my ground, my center, my all is my wife, and she goes, hey, it's summertime, dude, chill out. Let them relax. They get great grades throughout the year. They're involved in so many things throughout the year. Give them a break. And so I go back to that grounding. I go back to that. And so again, to put it towards your audience and what you guys do is just let's be more understanding of the needs. Let's be more understanding of where we could serve. And because we can, we're here, we're present, we can serve. So that I go back to, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say, you let me know, grumpy old vet, how we can make that change. We can turn that into more of a smirk and a definite smile. And either way, we're gonna get that 22 song out there. And did that have anything to do? I left to get the story about behind the name, only because it just came to my mind. Where you guys have a 21 gun salute, I believe.
Yeah, there's a 21 gun salute if they get full military honors at burial. But I did the 22 because that's the kind of the unofficial national average of veterans in the U.S. who commit suicide each day.
Okay. See, that's and again, I'm ignorant to your field, and what you guys do, but I'm respectful enough to remember and to know. And so 22, absolutely. Again, the link will be in the chat, right? I'm sure the link will be shareable, and we'll get this out to other streaming platforms. But as I was going back to the basics, we forget to put the basics in regards to like links. And again, this is nonprofits and any business and anyone that's doing things by grounding at Google Core, that Google business, that Google listing. That's going to make things a whole heck of a lot easier. So if you don't have a physical store, physical location, that's okay. There are things that you can still put on Google, and it can be as a personal brand page or a brand. Now that it gets a little bit more difficult to spread out, but hey, nothing is tough when you do the hard work. I get the easy stuff. I get to reflect your hard work, your dedication, your love, your passion, everything that you guys are doing. I just get to hold the mirror. Okay, that's I just know where to put the mirror, what mirrors to put, and where to place those. That's, if you will. Okay, I'm here as an instrument. That's all. By making those basics. Woo!
Oh.
Come on in, Marianne. Come on in.
Hi, Kristen. No, keep continuing. I just want to afterflow after you.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things, and you know, Marianne's got some stuff that she's got going on for you know, the sign language, and again, this is just what we're talking about, is being kind to one another. We used to have so much respect for folks that uh, were incapacitated or had a handicap, and I say, I use those words very loosely because I know that most people don't like to be called disabled. So again, the World of Ability podcast. That's exactly why more hard to Kurt. Yeah, because it's not disability. It's the World of Ability podcast, and we're all able to do something. So now DJ Wolf came in. Thanks for joining us, DJ Wolf. Going back to the basics is having the information correct. Now, people don't know white pages still exist, yellow pages, super pages. So these are some of the things and some of the cornerstones that you have to get your name and your accounts up and running. Now, social media, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Again, we used to pay for, advertisers and companies used to pay for to be on TV, be in the newspaper, be on the radio. And you weren't on just one channel. You were on your local broadcasting channels, right? So then we haven't gone away from them. We've just replaced them with digital. So are we having a good social media? So do we have a Facebook page? Is that Facebook page a page for an artist, or is that a personal page? Is that for a company, or is that a personal page? So then we structure the page, and when we're structuring the page, the links that are added, you say, "Oh well, pish posh. I don't really. I want to get my. I want to get. I'm not saying anything against you, Marianne. I want to get my books out to people." That's exactly why I'm telling you. Oh, Facebook. I don't really use Facebook, and my audience isn't on Facebook. No. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Can
you hear me?
But yes, I can. But Facebook is
Are
now
we frozen?
one of.
Am I frozen?
Oh, you're good. You're good.
You're good. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
no, I'm yeah.
Okay.
I have a mild hearing loss and it kicked in today, so I just want to make sure I can hear everybody. And yeah.
Don't have me turn up the volume because we can do that. The wife can definitely get upset. I'm loud as it is. So I just want to make sure. All right. Facebook, we were just speaking of. Facebook is actually one of those mapping things that will connect. And see, that's why Facebook allows you to check in. And that's what they were trying to do when you go and visit a business. It tells you, and all of a sudden you start getting different pop-ups and different ads from things that you clicked on or places that you were at. And of course, let's make sure we all understand something. Privacy is on the rise as well. But let's focus on what we're talking about here for music. Do you have, Dan, do you guys have your, all streaming platforms like your Spotify, SoundCloud, all of the streaming apps that you guys can be on? Have those been established for?
Yes, I have a presence on all of them.
Can you send me a link to your website too, and or the landing page?
Are you talking about for World of Ability or our own individual?
We're talking right now for Dan's 22 song and the group behind that. I want to kind of highlight it and make that the focus. Yeah.
Yeah, my website is my name, which is danwesleywhite.com.
So Dan, I think that are you an independent musician or?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
For now,
I'm the host of the Midwest Plainsman podcast over here in Waterloo, Iowa, and also I own Night Wolf Event DJ LLC, and I'm also doing internet radio. So both the stations that I broadcast on, they do accept independent musicians, and we gladly accept submissions from those artists.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get that. See, already Earl is committed to blasting that music all day long, and even if it gets less commercials, that's okay. He's gonna put it. We're gonna put that airtime to good use. I'm just kidding about the commercials. Of course, that's what we know. They get their advertisement. I always love speaking about that. Thanks for your support. Awesome. So I found the Spotify, the app, the music, Apple. I see the Amazon, things like that. So definitely, I'm just going to click on the one here for the YouTube. I know one of the biggest platforms, and we're gonna help. We're gonna use Google to help us position you better. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Because if you can lean on, and this goes for any business, if you can, that's why I said that Google Business is so important. I'm not going to change that tune. But there's the second largest search engine in the world. Do you guys happen to know?
YouTube.
There you go. So by exploring the YouTube and the YouTube channel that has for Dan Wesley White and the channel that's on here, and so the links that you could have on here, and not music YouTube, just YouTube. Go back to your website. There is the regular YouTube.com. Okay, perfect. So making sure that those links, and then now going from your website, now I can say that having some links that are coming in and having some of the links that are going out, that's great. Some of the merchandise. So you already have a lot of good stuff that you have on here, Dan, that we can place now onto Google Business. And so why that's going to be important, and as I'm pulling up your YouTube, is you have a new single out today on channel at the About section at the top. And I see the DWW there, some woodwork. Okay. Channel details, you have your, I figured as much, and that wonderful branding there. The YouTube at Dan Wesley White 1995, 71 subscribers. The channel details. See, we're missing all of those other links that you have on your site, on your About. And so now, not only do we would have Google links for all of your presence, but now we would also have at Dan Wesley White 1995, 71 subscribers. The channel details. See, we're missing all of those other. And so, sorry, I was getting feedback. Myself repeating. Who is this guy?
That was my fault.
Oh, I'm like, wait, who is this guy? He sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
That was my fault because I clicked into my my YouTube for the Midwest Plainsman, and we're broadcasting live on my channel.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. And again, get that guy to come back. He knows what he's talking about. The additional links that's going to, and again, we just talked about it. So the number one search engine, and then the number two search engine. So now you're going to have placement in those links on the. Now, I'm not saying that you have it on your website. I'm just saying now let's get them over to Google. So even just those things, and I'll help you out with that, no problem. You will see the impact in the Google business, and you have Google Analytics. I take it on your website.
What was that?
Google Analytics, the Google Site Kit.
No, I don't.
Okay, so we'll help you out with that. Another big thing too that we'd like to do is the footers. So remember, everybody nowadays, there's so many scams. I just spent an hour and a half yesterday with one of my clients. The only reason I'm bringing her up is we're celebrating 10 years with this client. He's a cleaning client of mine, and she's now passed me on to her son. When I can be handed down, when I can be referred to, it's wonderful. That just means that, and 10 years accomplishment for this is wonderful. But she's so scared of the internet, and she reaches out to me before even her son. And then she asked me to help her explain these things to her son, because he's obviously now the forefront of the business. And so there's so many scams that are going on. So you'll want to have, and I see the Texas State Songwriters.com thing, but the footer, making sure that your footer has the appropriate links, the stuff that, the registered trademarks and things like that. So the footer is also important. And then going to where we're at, the World of Ability podcast, is having this site also accessibility and accessible for WCAG compliance. And the wonderful part about that is there is a program that the government will, I believe it's up to $5,000 reimbursement Again, I'm not a tax professional, okay, so definitely, but there is reimbursement for getting compliant, getting your website compliant and being in compliance. Now, don't do it just for compliance. I always tell people I do it, and then my website has the little button where you can do the ADHD, vision impaired, and all that stuff, so you can check out what I'm talking about. I don't do it for compliance. I do it for accessibility, and that's where my heart comes in. And that's where, again, love helping people and making it. We can't make it equal, but we can sure as heck give somebody else a better opportunity at it. So if we have the technologies and we can implement that, and it's very easy for us to do it, and we'll work it out. We've partnered up with Accessibility, one of the huge multi-million billion corporations, to make those every site accessible and WCAG compliant and ADA compliance. With that being said, that's it. That's another step that I would definitely start working on. So the footer, the linking, and then Google and YouTube. That would be a great starting point. And then from there is, let's say somebody jumps on your site, and I know you have this support my music. I'm thankful that you don't have a pop-up, but I'm not, because you do need it. You are not just selling music. And that's what I'm talking about. I'd like to set up a one-on-one where I learn about your mission, your vision, what you're setting out to do. And in that itself, and you may have it already, history, and I know you have me, Dan with Wesley White, you have media, you have music, you have merch, you have events, you have content. So you may already have information about like what you've done, when you started, and things like that, because that's how people connect. And they want to know the story. They want to know why you started. They want to know the story behind it, and just joining you and supporting you, and then goes, hey, you'd like to know what I've got going on, or I got this next event, you want to sign up, or just share it. So it'll be a pop-up of what you.
Yeah, so I'd like to join in. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
Oh, refrozen.
No, you're on. You're live. You're ready to go, Marianne. Let's get it going. Let's play.
Oh, okay. So go out and play. Sorry, there. Had a little disconnection here, but hola and aloha, everybody. I'm Marianne of YPP. I'm the author and Apple game developer of the Acts of Kindness series books and coloring books, Apple game developer, and always in development, always changing. So grateful to be here, and just want to shine the light too. I met with Christian last week, and what an uplifting hour that we had. He's amazing. Detailed-oriented person who gave me advice of how to redesign the website, which has always been redesigned. I just want to shout out that, people with websites, you need to make sure that your website is ADA compliant, that's American Disabilities Act compliant, so that people with disabilities are able to view it, click on it, texting support. What a journey I got to learn from that. And my journey too was 30 some plus years ago. I was a case manager with the deaf at a company called Transitions Community Support Programs. So a lot of technology has developed over those years in regards to, for everybody, with persons with disabilities, technologies, hearing aids, to park mercantile, all these different products that are being up and approved and everything. And to know that now that you need to make sure your websites are ADA compliant. If not, businesses can receive up to a $75,000 fine. So I'm grateful through Happy Neighborhood Projects. I met Trevor Gibbs, who looked at the website. We've redone it and continue to critique. And Christian, gave great suggestions too. He was very uplifting and open to, always being better and be of service. So I wanted to he's got a great heart. I really enjoyed his conversation. And I was talking to him and I said, Christian, I'm applying for these grants. And guess what, Christian? Last week I got the contact that I won a $1,000 grant for Awesome Foundation.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, so now how do we move it forward? Just like when I received some of the pandemic stuff, So we are going to be moved forward. We just had a meeting this morning, a great meeting with Jay Stoyan, the founder of the Disability Channel. I'm really excited and honored to promote, the Acts of Kindness series books. We're always up and changing everything, and we're currently writing with my Suzanne Sims, my writer. We're both in Mexico, and to finish that for Leon McLaughlin with Clean Water Foundation, who will be joining us later in the Hour Power, talking about filters for worldwide schools. So through this journey and through this pandemic, I was grateful to receive the money, to use it to the best benefit, and to get federally trademarked, and to create some visual aids with the app games through my Fiverr graphic designer, so that you can see the thought, the vision, and the mission for the Acts of Kindness series being brought into animation movies with sign language characters, and no one has done that. My books talk about ocean cleanup, anti-bullying, and we're working on the climate change, and really excited to partner with Leon McLaughlin, who will be talking later about opening up these worldwide stores, and to bring the books and partner with that. And we'll see what happens from there. So we're just taking it day by day. Everybody changes. The world just changes. The weather is changing. So we just want to make sure everybody's safe and secure. My background is in hearing loss. I talk about, I went to school for audiology, and for the veterans part, there are benefits out there to receive benefits for hearing loss, ringing in the ears, getting disability benefits. So, and that can take a toll on a person's mental health. Vertigo, I experienced that myself, ringing in the ear. So some days is one day and another day is another day. And, the clouds that come over, the weather can come in and, oh, I can't hear today. It's just, it's the changing, but being able there to talk about it, having teachers and leaders and educate to help support, and being kind too, like, hey, today's not a really good day for me today because I really can't hear out of my right ear. So am I mean? Am I grumpy? I'm kind of going with the flow. And do I talk louder? Yes, I do. And my friends have to tell me, you need to calm it down. You're talking way too loud. And I go, oh, thank you for letting me know, because I know when my hearing fluctuates that I tend to talk louder, not trying to talk above you or louder. It's just where my level of my left ear or my right ear is. And this is my mind and my body and my spirit. And this is also my real estate. This is my head. And sometimes I can take too much in or not take too much out, and I got to declutter it. And so I'm just kind of sharing that. And by doing some, really great meditation and everything, and talking with people uplifting, and, what the universe did provide me that grant, and we want to prove it and moving forward. So the universe gave me this money. So we're going to be working with Jay Stoyan and to get the Acts of Kindness series out there with the sign language characters and books and puppets. So my vision is to bring these into animation movies, because no one has done it with sign language characters. And we have 500 million people worldwide now with a hearing loss. We have millions of moms and dads coming home from being of service, and now we can't hear their own children or grandchildren. So these are opportunities to go out and play some great activities of learning to read, to learn sign language as a form of communication, to have fun, and they're great activities as well. So thank you for letting me be part of the show. It was a great morning again this morning, Kurt. I was so excited after I talked to you. Again, Christian, we were shifting the positive energy, and we won the Awesome Foundation grant.
Yes.
Again, anybody can apply for it. The Awesome Foundation grant is available in several cities, countries, and continents. Now, I applied for Pakistan because I hire Pakistan to do the fiber graphics. And there's 65 million people that are deaf over there. And really, I talked to my writer. She's like, really? I said, well, it's not congenitally deaf. You're not born deaf. I believe it's because of warfare. And that's my opinion. There's a lot of unnecessary protecting our worlds, however our leaders decide to do that. But we're giving tools to uplift the community, to raise the vibrations and everything. So applying in these different cities, you can do it for climate change. We applied for, Emily and I are applying for the Disability Awesome Foundation. There's Canada, Toronto. I contacted Tommy Tong in San Francisco, Bay Area, San Jose. There's an organization there that are willing to give $1,000 to uplift your community and projects. And so I received mine because I'm going to be sending books to the YTT School for the Deaf. And I put part of this grant to partner with Jay this morning for the Disability Channel to get the word out there and to use this grant appropriately. So thank you so much for your time. Leon McLaughlin will be joining us. We're going to see how everything rolls, but that's great news.
Definitely
And
have a follow-up call with you, Marianne. Let me know if this afternoon or Monday, Tuesday works. Let me know so we can make sure that we keep that train on the right tracks. And absolutely, listen, that's 1000% what we're about, uplifting, supporting, and moving our mission and vision forward and helping you out to bringing it back to and collaborating. Maybe it's something that we can do for veterans and something, a new book that can be spearheaded out by veterans and veteran association that can also team up with the American Sign Language and what Marianne's foundation and organization is doing. Again, there's no limits, there's no barriers as long as we're wanting to and have that heart and are going to show up. So let me just, one thing there before we hand it back to Dan and focus back on that is there's many tools, but if we're not willing to or wanting to or to show up, the tools are just going to stay there. That's why I always say knowledge is power. We were taught knowledge is power. Encyclopedias were full of knowledge, and yes, encyclopedias were before the internet. I know we're going to blow some minds right now. Wait, what? Encyclopedias were knowledge, field knowledge, and people made a lot of money from selling encyclopedias. Now the internet took over, and the knowledge is still there. The only thing you can do with a book and the encyclopedia is full of knowledge, including any book and even the good book. You can lift a table, you can maybe level out a couch, maybe something like that. But unless you read it, unless you're applying that knowledge, it doesn't really mean that much. We can learn, but if we don't apply it, it's not going to mean much. And I go back to that, and I was looking up some of the suicide rates, some of the stuff from Mission Roll Call, some of the stuff. So that's where I want to get more information from you, Dan. What organizations? I obviously I'm on your side. I understand you have music. I understand you're a great musician. I get that from the page. I think getting a little bit more information in regards to the organizations that you're part of, or where your help is spearheaded to, or the focus is, what you're already plugged into, where you're already doing. And I see here you got an official 2024 nominee for the International Singer-Songwriters Association. Hope you won?
No, unfortunately.
All right. Well, that's because I wasn't there with you. So we'll try it for next year again and see what we can definitely do. But going back to that is please share some of the stuff that you're doing. I mean, obviously it's not just about the music. It's, again, 22, to make the subject more mainstream, to help vets and their families. How are you at? How is that advocacy? What programs are you working with?
Well, when I did the songwriter competition back in December, there was a veteran, North Texas, a golf veteran organization that also teamed up with that songwriter contest. And so they used my song in one of their videos that they did. And their mission was to take combat vets out and help them out by learning golf and playing golf. But that's really the only other veteran organization I'm really associated with right now. I haven't really branched out too much. I mean, I'm a member of the VFW here in town, and so I was thinking maybe one of these days even putting a all veteran kind of like variety show together, where it's veterans doing all the music, all the acting, that kind of stuff, and touring around like some of the VFWs or the Legions and things like that. But I haven't really had a chance to partner with anybody yet. And that's kind of why I got in with Jay and stuff to kind of put the media spin on it.
Okay. Hey, listen, it sounds like, again, foundational work, and then getting some of that stuff together. Again, this is exactly where I come in to kind of figure out where and what you, because this is all you, right? This is your branding, this is your mission, is where you're going to align with the most. There's many organizations out there, but some of them you may vibe with or may align more with. So that's another thing, and that's part of what would help with the site. And the pop-up is definitely one of the biggest things that I will tell you, because people want to support you. They will, and so they're going to support my music. And I did find it on the right-hand side, but maybe having that as a pop-up and tip and share this. Again, those pop-ups you can kind of redirect to wherever you want. But the most thing is having I guess I'm going a bit more marketing. Please don't get mad. But having that shock value, and then something that is going to make people stop. See, that's what I bring up the old. You guys familiar with the Moldy Whopper commercial?
Yep.
Moldy Whopper. Earl. Wonderful.
Like, where's the beef, or what are you talking about?
Moldy, MOLDY.
Moldy Whopper.
Moldy Whopper.
Like the
Yes.
candy? Like the
No,
malted
the
milk
Moldy
bun?
Whopper burger. Moldy Whopper burger.
For Burger King? What are we talking about here?
From Burger King, yes. So Burger King did a Moldy Whopper campaign. Okay. Now you're saying, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, exactly. See, stop. It was like, wait a minute. What? Burger King is doing a commercial, a full campaign where they set out and put a Burger King Whopper molded. Now, Earl, you've heard about it, so go ahead and give me your take and what you remember.
Okay, now that one was a little bit before me.
Okay.
Yeah,
so let me jump in. No worries, so we can get to the point.
They must have done that here in Iowa.
Well, this one, and I'll peg you another one. But the Moldy Whopper, it actually won awards. It won huge awards, and it actually increased their bottom line. I think it was like by 30%. Anything in the business world, I think it's over 2%. It's a success. Okay, let's go back to this Moldy. They wanted folks to understand, because unfortunately, you've seen, if you haven't, McDonald's burgers can be left out, and they do not mold. So Burger King was saying, listen, there is no. It's all beef. It's all real. It's all real products that are going to be deteriorating. So they kind of took a shot at McDonald's and everybody else, which McDonald's is the biggest culprit of that. Their burgers do not rot. Their burgers do not mold, and it's something that is ongoing, where they actually have, somebody does actually have a cheeseburger from McDonald's, and it does not mold. So that's where they were kind of pegging. This is who we are. This is authentic us. This is what we're bringing to the public. And it was a shock value that increased dramatically and made people understand about the Moldy Whopper. And it makes people understand a little bit, or be more comfortable. Well, hey, wait a minute. That's real food. And see, it's not really about what is being sold that we actually are enticed with. It's the wiring in our brains, those little positive reactors. That's why we get nostalgic, and when we remember things. And I know Kurt was getting worried. Do you like Whoppers, Kurt? Because I saw you going, hey, wait a minute, are you talking about the Whopper candy? That delicious Whopper candy?
Yeah, I love my Whopper with those onions. I can't pass that up.
I'm more the bacon king.
Going to the see, you said bacon. Notice how he said onions. Earl just said the bacon. It's not just about the burger, but it's those firing of those things that what things that we like, and we love our veterans. At least I have that heart for it, and so does this team, and so do a lot of other people. But then we get confused with, okay, I'm looking at this page. If you don't tell me what you want, yes, Marianne, we are definitely here. Definitely plug on in. As I'm seeing this, I'm being taken to different directions and different things. You got to tell me where to go. You got to be the showman here. You got to direct me to, if you will, the next step into where do I go from here? How do I support you? I support you by tip or by share. No, you got merch. You got music. I can follow you. I can like you. I can share what I've listened to. Now we're going to get Earl Williams, and we can add that station where he's going to be playing your songs on, and we're going to place it on your website. Mm-hmm. Not only, I'm not saying you're not valid. Listen, by no means am I saying anything. I'm just saying that this increases the visibility, it increases the validity, it increases the credibility. Oh, Christian, well, who cares? It's a website. So the internet is called, you might get an email if you have a website. If you ever had a website or a domain, you get emails where we can get you the first page of Google, or we can get you blog posts, or a lot of people right now getting spammed with top DA websites. It's domain authority, because the internet needs to be double checked. I gave you guys at the beginning the yellow pages, super pages, 411 white pages. Those still exist digitally, and those are still entities that the government oversees, and those are things that they have to be compliant for. Those are sources of information. That's why they're citation directories. And then, if we don't have those, then we're missing a big chunk. Now we're putting on merchandise, and we want to sell things, but we need authority. We need credibility. We need social media accounts. And we need the Facebook to have all of the information that you have on here. We need your Instagram to have the information. We need to be uniform. But again, going back to this, that's how branding and marketing line up. That's where your visibility increases. And I'm looking at 317 followers and 24 posts on Dan Wesley White Instagram. The highlights and highlights, I have double highlights. Yes, sir.
Something also to all add to this here. For someone who's been in the music and entertainment industry for the past 23 years now, as a DJ, internet radio host, podcaster, and working with independent musicians, the one thing that I would recommend is with a website that's going to stand out would be, and this is just an example here, you could do it danwesleyWhitemusic.com, or you could go with you could even do dwwmusic.com, but either one of those would help you stand out as an artist.
Yeah, I'm the only Dan Wesley White. That's why I had to use all my names, because there was already Dan Whites, there was already Dan Wesleys or Wesley Whites. So but I'm the only one under all three names.
Gotcha. Okay. Then that's why I would go with danwesleyWhitemusic.com. That's going to stand out as an artist, as a musician. And then also,
it's also for brand protection, just to throw that in there.
And then also, if you look at the chat, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but oh shoot, I goofed. I meant to put in my email, and I put in to Gmail instead of at Gmail. But if you submit your music to me directly at the Midwest Plainsman at gmail.com, the station that I will be playing your music on starting, because they're starting back up at the end of next month, will be militaryveteransradio.com.
Okay. Yeah, I've got my songs out on a few veteran stations, but I'm trying to branch out to a few more.
Yeah, so this will be a good one to get your music on. The owners are, well, the one owner's here in the States, the other one's over in the UK. And we cover pretty much every aspect of the military, both current uniformed and retired military veterans, and along with first responders.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. Absolutely. That's one big thing, and just because Earl mentioned it, and absolutely, if you don't own danwesleyWhitemusic.com, please go get it ASAP. If you need any assistance with domains and registration, we do that privately, and we give you some extra perks with it. Reason I say that is because it's for brand protection. As wonderful as you are in everything that you're doing, somebody can grab that domain, copy a site, and as now impersonating everything about you, and may even take out ad space on Google, our other streamings, our other platforms, and the person will be not the wiser to think it's you. Now, where that traffic and what they're doing with the data that is collected, and I started speaking about Google Sitekit, and that's why it's important to make sure that we understand the traffic to our site, our audience, and kind of just to make sure that that protection is there. But having that and being part of what you have on the pop-ups, it's going to allow you to not only see who's signing up, who's visiting you, but then it's also going to allow you to connect with people and connect with your audience. And that's where that community involvement. I always say you got to deposit before you can withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest things. And again, that's going back to the basics. You open up a bank account. Hey, I need to withdraw money. You just open up a bank account. You got to deposit. I know you've been doing deposits, and I know you have a lot that you've deposited into your music, into the long hours. I'm sure, long history. Your experience is also long hours and experience that is uncomparable. But we got to make some of those deposits into the communities that you're looking to affect and looking to impact. And that's why I said about getting together with those organizations that you feel, or creating your own, or teaming up with Kurt's organization, wherever and whatever you feel most comfortable in and that you feel behind it, because that's the right train. That you are the driving caboose, and you're going to get a break once we get all of the moving pieces, and then you can. But definitely working up to that is and making sure that things are correctly placed. It's going to make things easier. I didn't say it's easy. It makes it easy. Just as the support from one another.
You guys want to stand by one? I'm going to be doing a test run here on MVR. So, yeah, they gave me all the details I needed, and the owner wants me to do a test run.
Okay, so we're doing a test run with this show right here?
Yep, we're going to be doing a test run, and I'll be broadcasting live on Military Veterans Radio.
All right, so what's the countdown? What's the timing?
Now.
I love
10
it.
Seconds, huh? Within 10 seconds. Here we go. Live stream production in action. Going
Military Veterans Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in to MVR, where we support all uniformed military personnel and veterans all around the world. We broadcast worldwide to support all military and first responders who keep us safe. If you like us, All of our staff, DJs, and presenters are on a volunteer basis. So if you want to help support MVR, please use the donate button on our website. No, that is where it didn't take off. Okay, disregard that. Technical issues.
All right. Well, while Earl figures out some technical issues, let's not sit in awkward silence. That's one of the things that I don't like. Not that I like listening to myself, but I want to I want to leave value. Always leaving value, and your time is valuable. So let's continue on some of the aspects that we can while Earl's working on that. I was thinking of one of the things while you're connecting to your audience, while you're putting that, and then I started mentioning the Instagram and the Facebook, because your Instagram goes right back to the Facebook, and again you have Dan Wesley White, 1,900 plus followers, and then 3,400 following. Now you have the last post on July 22nd. Thank you, Bandwagon, for the play. Which again, definitely what you're doing and what's going on. Links that are missing on the Facebook page, all those wonderful links that you have on your site, add them to that page. Have them added, have that structured. And then I know you may not be the daily social media posting type, but you can hire someone or you can work with me, because unfortunately we have to have not just our actual presence, but now we have to have our digital presence, online presence, social media presence. And for those technology folks out there, you also have to have a virtual reality presence, an AR presence, a digital presence, crypto and bit. We have to be everywhere. Well, we don't have to, but if we want to be where the masses are at, again, we talked about this. We used to be on channel 6, on channel 8, on channel 10, right? It hasn't changed. It's still the same basic principles. It's just the platforms have changed. And then connecting in and syncing those and linking those, that's how the internet is connected, because everything is just indexed. That's why they're called index guides, right? Google, you must be indexed. So as you're putting information in and about your brand, about your music, about your mission, then it starts connecting to the other things, and then it is going to climb up higher, because Google bases and serves content on the key things. And by the way, if you ever want to know how Google actually does algorithm and ranking, they do tell you right up front. They just don't tell you how to. So prominent information, relevant information, and then based on distance. So how Google serves in algorithms with pertinent information. If you're going on there, you're looking for a, let's say, burger joint. You're talking about burgers, right? So you're looking for a burger joint around you. You don't want to see Chinese food, Thai food. You don't want to see Mexican food. Why? You look for burger joint around me. Now, you want to see the ones that are highly rated or the ones that are lower rated. Now, Google interprets things based on, again, how much you contribute. We talked about it. You got to feed the index. You got to get your pages and your work and your published content indexed by Google, be placed out there so that it starts connecting, but so that you also bring that authority, which is, again, so when somebody's searching for specific music, keywords, content, or content that has to do, your lyrics. Do you have? I see. Let's see here. How many songs on this? Just on the home page, you have 7. You have all your lyrics on each of these platforms as well, Dan?
No.
Okay. Why would I even bring that up? Everything that you sing, all that work, we need somebody to pick that up and I know Kurt signed me up and put that when we have the meetings, it does that AI and it does that summary. It's not because we're trying to be fancy and trying to show off. We got an AI assistant for voice and no. It's transcripts and how people are able to digest your content. Because there are deaf veterans. Are you telling me they can't enjoy music? Why not? And with so much technology, so much of the stuff that is happening around AR and around VR and some of the scientific breakthroughs that are happening, where children and people are being able to hear for the first time because of this technology, are able to see things. I just saw this, and I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's actually blind soccer games in the Olympics. And they're running around with, it almost looks like a Meta VR headset. I was just floored. And I'm going, that's what technology should be doing. That's where we should be focusing.
Oh, yeah. Can I chime in, please?
Already?
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes. I just want to share, I had the opportunity to be on Steve Ramona's podcast. I had to move and relocate to get internet service down here in the marina in San Carlos because I didn't have internet to have that interview with Leanne McLaughlin. But yes, Steve Ramona has talked about a company called Audio Dome and who created this headset, and they went out to the university, Washington, D.C., Gallaudet University, and put this headset on people with profound deafness, and their eyes lit up. They could actually feel sound and vibration, and it's amazing technology of what's coming out there. And he was looking for investors. So the company is called Audio Dome. If you get a chance, take a look at it. I don't know what they've done in the last 9 months since they've been on Steve Ramona's podcast, which is a great opportunity again to be enlightened on all these technologies and advancements for people. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. It's amazing. The tears of joy to watch their eyes light up and to hear sounds and vibrations in speech. And yeah, it's a gift of life when you lose a loss in regards to a sense of seeing, vision, hearing. It does become challenging. And so there are some great technologies out there that are coming around, and pretty exciting. So I'm hoping to share the gifts of the books with some sign language characters, with some zany Zeke characters to, talk about ocean cleanup, anti-bullying. We're working on the climate change book and hope to bring them into animation movies in the future to be of service so that families can see the diversities, disabilities, challenges, and have a good time, and so go out and play and unite. So I just wanted to share that with you too. So yes, there are amazing technologies that are coming out, and you just got to be open to it, and the cost, the expenses, and what's next. And so anyway, same thing with hearing aids. So there's always the newest tech.
Absolutely, thank you.
Always the newest technology, and the big giant computers. So now we have it on an iPhone. Everybody knows what you're doing now in your personal life. But anyway, it can be good and it can be bad. So just wanted to share that with you. So yes, if it supports our deaf community, our really profound deaf community, that's groundbreaking. That's amazing. So thank you for the technology to do that.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. I think that technology is just a tool that can be used. You said whether good or bad, but definitely.
Well, and everything changes. The same thing too. For example, when I was in a car and I lost some of my hearing, even though I did work with the deaf, but my body's not a wonderland as much as it is, and things do change, and just like that. Okay, so we have different prescription glasses. Everybody's eyesight is different, and it continues to change. Everybody's hearing can change too. It can come and go. There's different types of hearing loss, such as mild to moderate, severe, and things can change with it. especially with the military being exposed to loud noises, which can occur with tinnitus. I suffer from vertigo every now and then. I've had upper cervical chiropractic treatment to focus on that area and being realigned. And, shift does happen. And it's just the same thing, too, with a hearing aid or eyeglasses. Your prescription can change over your age time. And that's where new technology comes in. And, you got to be open to what your mind, body, and is going through as well. And, people being perspective to that. And so I just wanted to share that with you too. And speaking of Burger King and eating, we love those processed foods, but they carry a lot of sugar, salt, sodium. Processed foods carry all that, which can set off ringing in the ears. Wines and sulfates, coffee, nicotine, all those can be triggers too to set off your hearing loss. And, moving, relocation, the clouds came over. We haven't really received rain, but now we're getting thunderstorms, and boom, my ear just popped up and go, whoop. I looked on my phone. I go, there's a thunderstorm coming. And it affects me. And then I know I got to just, just stay calm and get through it and understand it. And I've had to explain to friends too, like, I can't hear, and I don't mean to be yelling at you, but I can't hear out of my right ear today. And I'm cleaning it out. And I hope it passes. And those things that can fluctuate with air pressure and all that. And so, yeah, keeping kind of things clear and, clarity and all that. But yes, there's so much good things are happening. And we want to just keep it elevated that way where, other things are, weather is permitting is not really working with us in some places. But anyway, so I just wanted to share some of those other techniques too for hearing quality. Thank you so much for your time.
That's absolutely great segue. And I think we'll kind of position it to Dan and Kurt. The biggest thing that I took from everything that you said in the very end is it's a support system that you have and a clear communication and understanding that those around you are to be able to support you. Dan, we want to be able to, we're not going to understand, but we want to understand a little bit better. We're not going to be able to see things from your standpoint, but we could damn sure support you. And by you letting us know what's the best way we can, if we do have a veteran or if we have a military personnel in our lives, how we can better understand and how we can better maybe just support. And again, some of the times it's being quiet and listening and just lending. But again, I don't want to speak for you. And then what we can do to help and support your mission. It's going to be something that you need to make clear on that site. So I know we're kind of putting in some media and some assistance as the conversation goes, but I think that truly is going to be important for you.
Good. Getting back to Dan. Dan, what branch of the military were you part of?
I was in the U.S. Army.
Army. Okay.
Thank you for being of service.
Thank you.
So, Dan, I have in my first book called Underwater Acts of Kindness, it features Noah, the hard-of-hearing whale, who is on a Hawaiian vacation and he gets injured by a black speedboat. It's kind of a parallel where I was in an accident myself. But we have a turtle called the sea turtle called the General of the New Earth Army, who recruits Noah the whale to tackle the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And that was the creativity with Suzanne Sims, my writer, who her first husband, the late Colonel James Shannon, was in the military. They lived on the Big Island, and he was the inspiration for Men Who Stare at Goats. So I'm really honored to have Suzanne Sims to partner with me to continue to write this series. And again, we highlight with these puppet characters for everybody to come along together to be of service. And, they have different disabilities. Hearing loss is what I talk about with the characters. And we have music to go with it that's very uplifting as well. So everybody will enjoy it. So we want to be of service to your community. Again, thank you so much for your support. I got to be in Hawaii, so I got to go to the military bases. Actually, I got to entertain at Fort Schaffner Army Base and Air Force. I'm trying to think some different places. We had great fun sharing the stories and entertaining the military families up there again. So thank you so much for your service. Mahalo, Mariana YPP.
All right, so I see that a Samsung phone just connected. Neil, is that you or is it somebody else? If you're there, it is.
And there he is. Neil, is that you?
Oh, it's me. No, it's me. It's Christian.
Oh.
I just have to switch phones and devices.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Dan, where did your journey in music begin? How did life get you into music?
Well, actually, I've been around music my entire life. Started when I was young. My dad was a Baptist preacher, so I would sing in the choir and things like that. And then as I got in older, of course, I joined band and marching band and jazz band, all that stuff. But it was when I was in jazz band that I learned how to play the bass guitar. And so from there, right before I graduated high school, I took an audition with the military band, and I actually passed being a high school graduate instead of a college graduate. So I did 9 years in the military band. And then when I got out, I went back and got my teaching degree to teach music in public education. So I'm starting year 19 last week for being a band director, and also went back and got my master's degree with my benefits through the VA. And so I just kind of like what I said earlier, I've always been performing other people's music, and I thought it was time now that I'm at an age where it's time I kind of leave my own mark on the art world and for my kids to remember me by. So I started writing and singing my own stuff and getting it recorded in Nashville, and I'm just kind of putting it up here and there whenever I have time and money.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. That is a feat, and that is a story, and that is definitely part of things that I would love to see on the site and you to speak more about. Those are great accomplishments, young man. Great accomplishments. You have such a vast history, and you've already been working with the community. Mm-hmm. That's exactly the wonderful thing. See, that stuff, I told you, I can't do anything about that. All I can do is just reflect it and kind of help you put it in the right place. That's none of that is my work. None of that is. I have nothing to do with that great success. So again, congratulations. That is phenomenal and accomplishment that you've made in the last 20 years. 19 years to be helping and working with that. I mean, incredible.
Thanks.
So Earl, I see that Midwest Veterans Radio is playing right now. Is that us or? Oh,
you're on mute, buddy.
Earl. I don't know. All right, he's working on something. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's on autopilot right now. Is we're having issues with getting me access.
Oh no. Hopefully I can get your access soon.
Yeah. So the owner is working on it right now. Think I'm having to educate her on how the encoders for Soundcast work.
All right. Well, progress in action right here at the World of Ability podcast. So Dan, tell us a little bit more about what was going on in your life when one day some guy says, "Hi, I'm Jay Stoyan." What's that story, Dan? I'm curious.
Well, this year I decided to kind of go a different direction. I was doing all my own legwork and stuff, trying to get my singles out there. And one of the other indie artists I talked to and followed mentioned something about big records up there in Canada. And so I got to talking to Mark Rosner, who's the head of the Big Records company. And then I kind of liked everything he had to say. So then I went ahead and joined the Big Records family back in June or January. And from there, you know, the last few months, I finally released my first single through the Big Records and the Sony Orchard distribution. And then he said, well, I've got this friend named Jay who also does a media company, and he could probably help promote you and give you a media blitz and stuff like that. So then Mark introduced me to Jay, and that's how it's been going for about the last month since me and Jay have made contact.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Glad to have you in these circles, and you know, kind of catching up to you here and figuring out kind of what you do to fill your days and weeks and months. But definitely anything this group's here to help out. You know, we're definitely here to, you know, share your music. And I think I heard Christian say that we're looking at about 7. Yeah, I see 7 songs that are shared out through your website. One of them is Saturday Night in Border Town. So, Border Town being what is Border Town?
I live on a border town. I live right on the Mexico-Texas border. So it's kind of like an homage to the city I live in and how people celebrate on weekends and things like that.
All right. So, you're like that Taco Bell commercial, take a run for the border. Eh?
Well, it was my take. Added a little bit of Hispanic influence to it, so it starts with an accordion solo and stuff. Even though it's still country, it's kind of more of the if you know the group, the Texas Tornadoes, back in the '80s and '90s. It's kind of along that line. Added accordion and stuff. Added some Mexican vibe to it, and so I consider it kind of like a Tex-Mex country.
All right, all right.
You know, I did notice one of the highest playing one of your highest playing songs, I believe on Spotify, was Border Patrol.
Right. And again, it goes to where I live at, and it was kind of my homage also, because the Border Patrol has been kind of in a rough situation the last few years. They're kind of being vilified, and what a lot of people don't understand, it's not the actual Border Patrol agents that are the people doing kind of questionable bad things. It's the people in the higher admin positions that are sending the orders down, and they have no choice but to honor it or lose their job. So it was just kind of my take on, you know, saying, hey, we got your back, we understand everything. I told it in the perspective of a third person, like an actual Border Patrol agent, and how their shift is for like any given day. And not only what I see on the news, but what I see physically, since I live here in a border town where I see a lot of the immigration stuff happening personally.
So speaking of border towns, Dan, we've got a guy who's from a couple border towns, one bordering, you know, from the northern tip of the planet to the rest of the universe, the North Pole, and then another with another spot, getaway spot in Minnesota, you know, border town to Canada, you know. So here we got Santa Papa John here. He's quite a guy. So Dan, don't know what your trails are now, starting at this point with this show, but maybe someday there'll be a future of being Santa approved. What do you think, Dan?
I don't know about the naughty list, though. It could throw me off.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. We are deep into music and podcasting and marketing and books and puppets and app games and oh my gosh, Santa Papa John, we got more toys than you, I think.
Oh, that's been possible, but you know, you can always try, Kurt. You know, everybody having a so far. There's Marianne. How are you?
Hi. Good, Santa. I'm so excited, Santa. I won the Awesome Foundation grant for $1,000. I applied for it. There's every different city and there's different countries for other people to apply. So we are excited that we received the grant money, and we are going to send books to the YPP School for the Deaf come October as anti-bullying month. through whale watching season, and we're excited. We just talked to Jay Stoyan, founder of the Disability Channel, to be interviewed and to use part of that grant to get the word out there about the Acts of Kindness series books, the app games, and the puppets, and how teachers can get copies of the books from an organization called DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. And everybody wins Santa. So you got copies of the books. I feel like Oprah. I'm sending you copies of the books, and you get a copy of the book, and you get a puppet. So Santa, did you get a chance to review the books? And I know you got the catalog.
My wife is in the process of going through them now. Everything that I've had a chance to quickly see, they look pretty amazing. I've been so busy. I was out of town for 3 days this week, so I haven't had a chance to thoroughly go through them myself. But stories are starting to develop, and stories are starting to happen on YouTube. And I've been watching some different coaching ideas on YouTube, and there's a good chance that we'll see what happens here in the next couple of weeks. There could be Santa reading some of Marianne's books on his channel.
Oh,
It's great to hear, Santa. That is great to hear, Santa Papa John. Continue to
Christian,
do
how
that.
you doing?
I'm amazing and blessed. I was gonna take a break, but as soon as I heard you, I switched devices, and I'm glad I did. I worked out the audio, so I am definitely here supporting you, your mission, and I love it. Again, making people smile. We can make people smile for free.
Well,
And we can bring the joy. Yes, we can bring the joy of the world, and we can continue to spread that out all year long. And that's one of the wonderful things I like about what your mission and what you're doing. So definitely support it and continue to support it. I know that we've been sharing and going through some links and things like that. So
thanks, Christian. I really appreciate that. Nice to meet you there, Dan. Whereabouts are you from, Dan?
I'm down in Del Rio, Texas.
Oh, right. I heard part of the conversation as I come on. You were talking about that wonderful border situation we got happening down there, and you're not a very happy camper with it by the sounds of it. And unfortunately, we have been put into a very ugly situation down in your area, and I just hope that you are remaining safe and your family is safe, and soon the situation will be changed to have a little bit more control and understanding what's going on there, because right now it's a pretty ugly situation, and there's a lot of people that are not very safe. So I'm hoping you are safe.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Wild West again down here, so we got to get something going pretty soon in the Congress and everything to fix it.
yeah, that's the reality. I live in a border town here, obviously North County, San Diego. So we're bordering the southern border of Tijuana. You mentioned that, Kurt, earlier. And agreeing with what you just said, Dan, we don't have to get too political or get into the politics, but there's definitely a solution that needs to be found, and there's a solution that needs to be created. It's unfortunate, and it's a lot of misinformation, but there are a lot of things that are already protecting, and there's just a lot of dead ends. And there are a lot of things that are humanitarian efforts that are also there's a lot more that is going on. And so I think it goes back to whether it doesn't matter what we're talking about. If we are kinder, if we seek to understand each other a little bit better, that's where it's going to come. The difference is going to come by sharing and by advocating for veterans, and what you're doing is not just because you're trying to sell a record or get a deal. Truly, your mission is to advocate and bring down that percentage rate, and to support as many veterans, to support as many servicemen and women and families. And that's at the heart of your music, at the heart of what you've kind of been pouring into the community. So I hear your concerns and listen to that, and absolutely agree with you. You can see it from a different perspective when you're actually living in it. I can see it from a different perspective, not only just seeing it, living in it, but we also have family members and other friends and other associates that are also south of the border, and so we're seeing it from a completely different perspective.
Yeah, it brings a whole new perspective of saying be safe and watch your backs to the forefront with the situation that you guys are dealing with down south. Hello, Earl. How is you doing today, Earl?
Yeah, well, I'm hanging in there, Adam. Yeah, give me just a moment here. I'm going to have to go do voice chat with the owner of the station so I can help her get this figured out so I can go live. But in the meantime, yeah, be sure to take a look at the link I posted in chat for my GoFundMe. As I've been posting that on Facebook for everybody. Yeah, so I shall be right back soon as I get this figured out.
All right, thanks, sir. Looks like we got Barbara Weinstein, our roving reporter here. I thought she was hanging out by the men's room, but it looks more like a tram or.
I was going to say, is she on a train? Looks like she's on a train.
Train or a plane or something.
Planes, trains, and automobiles all of a sudden. Barbara, are you hearing us in the crowd there?
It's very noisy, so I didn't on this train, so I wanted to be here and say hi.
All right. Well, we could do like a flash mob on your phone. You could just like interrupt what everybody's doing on the train and say, "Hey, everybody, I'm listening to World of Ability podcast featuring music by Dan Wesley White."
Hey.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Barbara. So here we go. Everybody's on the go. It's always fun to have people out and about in the community and going places while the rest of it just sit here and talk to each other.
There you go. Absolutely. I've had a couple of good meetings already this morning and made some people smile and giggles. And, you know, I pulled up a YouTube channel last night, and, you know, we got to support each other when we're doing stuff on YouTube. But I found a gentleman that did a very good speech on how to promote and get your videos growing with some traction and some ideas. So he's given me some ideas to promote these stories that I'm doing a little bit further. And yes, I know I got to be patient and understanding, and there's some growth happening there already, but it never hurts to look at new ideas and new ways to promote. And these guys have already, you know, yeah, I got that out. I hope you understood that, and it made me laugh and giggle, because even Santa gets tongue-tied every now and then, and we get to admit that nobody's perfect in this world, and we have to try. But the reality of it is, Kurt and Dan and Marianne, there's a lot of people in this world that have gone through and tried things a lot sooner and earlier than we have, and they put their mistakes online. And if we can learn from their mistakes, it'll save us quite a few steps in the process of getting us more traction, more bigger audience, and more people looking at what we're doing. And you know, that's like the world of ability. If we share this amongst other people, because we've all made mistakes, and we want this to grow, and it's an amazing platform, and it helps a lot of people understand that there are people out there willing to help, and there are services out there.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So Santa, Papa John, and Barbara, we want to get you up to speed. We are promoting Dan Wesley White's music, and he's got it all set up on his website, as you could expect, danwesleywhite.com. And so go on in there and dive into the community, and let's get this out on the trails to support this music. And so, Dan, I'm trying to figure you out a little bit. You've got a song here, 80s Child. I'm a 70s child. I was born in 1971, but boy, do I remember the 80s and relish the 80s.
How do you remember the 80s? If you remember the 80s, you obviously had a very neglected childhood. Because, Santa used to partake in a lot of, fun activities, but there's not a lot of remembering from the 80s. Come on now.
Oh, I was just talking to somebody yesterday about how in the 80s, Michael Jackson came out with the song "We Are the World" and "Children Are Our Future," and staying with all those musicians and everything. And I'm telling people we got to get that energy from the 80s back. And then
that was a collaboration with like 27 artists, but Michael and I think it was Lionel Richie that were the main spearheading to get that collaboration going.
And Quincy Jones produced it.
Yep, yeah, Quincy Jones, and what an amazing producer, and he had some incredible ideas. But that was for a reason, that was for a purpose. And there was a lot of starving children in Africa, if I remember the gist of the story of why they did that. But that shows the power of collaboration, the power of networking. Even back then, they were showing that if you work as a team, you're going to get a lot further than me. And they opened the doors to many different opportunities out there that are still helping the world and still helping people.
There you go. Well, speaking of people helping people, how were things at HMP weekend a few hours ago?
It was a little quiet, but there was the core group, and I was the lucky gentleman with 5 beautiful ladies again, and then we had a young man from France join us. So it was kind of interesting, and he brought some different perspective and great questions, and a good question and a Q&A session happened for about the last 20 minutes of the meeting, Kurt. So I explained to them that you were up in doing an important meeting that was not scheduled according to your time frame, and everybody understood. And so it was an interesting time.
All right, excellent. So Dan, when we're talking about HMP and the Happy Neighborhood Project, I'm venturing a guess that you are new to HMP and the Happy Neighborhood.
Recording in progress.
You can find it at hmpabc.com. That's a forwarding address that takes you to the homepage, happyneighborhoodproject.com, and it's complete with a happy co-op. So if you want to join a community of tens of thousands of people, 5,000 co-op members, Dan, and work with all of us, I met Santa Papa John and Marion Waikiki directly from HMP and indirectly with one of our HMP friends, meeting some folks on Alignable. Here comes Christian out of the Alignable community, but I would never have connected it. It wasn't for our friend Bill Scalzito. Bill Scalziti, Romance by Choice. He's the one that introduced me to the mutual contact Christian I have. And so this business networking thing is the flair we have and what we have to offer you, Dan, that as Jay does his thing, our thing would be referrals, and we do things like posting parties, Dan, where, Christian was looking at your social media, and if you want some more attention to your social media, we can work with you on our posting party format. And what we do is we have, let's say 20 friends who might, by our prompting, go out there and boom, all of a sudden, Dan, you got 20 reactions, 20 comments to your post, and perhaps a couple or a few of you even shared it, maybe, depending on how they were captured by your post, and that's all exposure. Now we have all our friends that we call family. We have a friend by the name of Denise Vargas, our diva, and she coined this thing that, we're family. We're friends that are like family. What do you think about that, Tim?
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so it's all available here. So as we get to know each other, and as you're getting your impressions, what's going on. You can give us all reactions. I see that you and Earl are trying to get connected here, and Christian. So hopefully we can have some follow-up to this. So Santa Papa John, you want to help Dan out a little bit and help him explain what your shtick is, and for a musician like Dan, like, how does your program help his music be known to millions and billions of people? What do you think, Santa?
Well, it sounds like an interesting concept. I should have been on here earlier, but I was into another meeting. So, the old proverbial, you can only divide yourself up so many different times in different places during the day. But Dan, I'm a Santa that thinks outside the old proverbial gift box. Power of networking. It used to be I used to think outside of the box. Now someone said, well, Santa, don't you give away gifts? And I said, of course I do. Well, then you think outside the gift box. So I come away of some very unique marketing ideas. This is the big one right behind me. Is your business Santa approved? And it's growing legs and starting to spread around the whole world with different ideas. I think I've got a guy sitting on the fence in Australia that's going to be jumping on maybe this week, and I've got a couple from Canada, and of course I've got people in the States already. I've got Kurt involved with Project Die Hard. They're already Santa approved. What it is, Dan, is simple. I'm building a whole new community of positive, like-minded, happy, cheerful people to join a community. I've been taught again. We're going to put them in the workshop. Kurt, you're going to be an official elf because you're going to go into the workshop. And people are going to join the workshop because they're happy, positive elves. And, the simple reality of that, Dan, is, networking and sharing ideas and being positive and joyful. But I also do videos. I do like one-of-a-kind happy birthday videos. I do Santa check-in videos. And now the newest one that's gaining a lot of ground is a specialized thank you, one-of-a-kind thank you. You've got a client or a customer base that, deserves more than just a thank you from Dan. Well, now you can order a specialized thank you from Santa on your behalf to represent your company, and I can be proud of them for supporting your business. So, different ideas and stuff like that. But I also I'm working with 3 nonprofits, so I do commercials and advertisements and promotions for them as well. So, one of those is in Canada. So I've got my foothold in Canada on quite a few different avenues and states. Australia is a hot spot. So I'm going to be in podcasting. I've been doing lots of podcasting lately, Kurt, and it's fun. I just did another one with a lady from, where was I? Des Moines, Iowa. But I'm going to be doing one I'm going to do a live radio show in Australia here next week. I'm going to do a podcast with a young man in the Netherlands. So, the word is getting out that Santa can help people smile a little bit more, cheer them up, and create a happy, positive, joyful memory for a lot of different people.
So, Dan, do you have any music that brings people a smile? How does that work for you, Dan?
I think music of any kind brings a smile to you.
Absolutely. I've been a DJ for 40 years, Dan.
All right.
I mean, that's basically what I've involved my life in. Is I'm either a DJ or I'm a band director or I'm a musician performing other people's stuff or my own stuff. So music, if it weren't for music, I wouldn't be here, basically.
Absolutely. I mean, it gets in your heart and your soul, and you're proud to share and create. And once you have that rhythm in your soul, it never leaves.
Oh no.
And just the simple reaction of someone tapping their toe to your music or your ability to create the music, or even at the DJ, if you watch people's sitting around talking and chatting with another, and all of a sudden you look under the table and all their toes are tapping, you've got them in the right mood and you're having a happy conversation.
Right. And that's what kind of gets me about some of these artists now, that they're chastising the people in their performances. It's like, well, you need to listen to me. It's like, no, I mean, they've already paid their money to be there. They're there enjoying the environment. Why would you single them out and embarrass them? That kind of thing. I don't believe in that kind of stuff.
Well, they let the ego alter get to them.
Let me jump in.
What's
I
up, Christian?
apologize, gentlemen. Let me jump in. We talked about marketing. We talked about what it means. We talked about connecting to your audience. See, and we last left off your lyrics. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So you know why the commercials run every morning, or they used to run every morning, and you have your kids that would come in, this is what I want, this is what I want. I go back to the traditional, because these are things that we grew up with, things that we can connect to. Because right now the world is so volatile, I don't know what the structure is, so I can just peg something that you guys can follow and understand. So now your audience is singing with you and for you. I mean, they literally are connecting to the words. They're connecting to that song. They're connecting. That in itself is an experience, and you both gentlemen just said it. Music you love. If it wasn't for music, you wouldn't be here. You connect yourself so much to music. That's exactly what you just said. Truth of the matter is, if you didn't have food and water, you'd be gone a lot sooner than you would if you didn't have music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're talking about in the endorphins and the marketing, and it's just, some of it is part of the ugly side where, yes, there are companies out there that do prey upon people's emotions, fear mongering as well. That's what makes you tune into the news channel and what's going on and what do headlines. What are they supposed to do? They're supposed to grab your attention and make you want to click on it. And so that's where the internet has kind of gone into, and they've eliminated some clickbait and they've gotten some things that are kind of a little bit more less predatory or a lot more back to our privacy. Because when you visit a site, depending on the cookies that they actually use on that site, and you guys, again, this is part of the stuff that we're talking about. And so it kind of blends into what you're saying, into how we feel, into how we intake whatever media or whatever product or whatever service. How people are going to be more likely to not just buy your merch because, well, I don't know your music. I don't want to just all of a sudden just start wearing a shirt with your branding on it and your album on it. In order for somebody to wear your merchandise, I would think, and you could tell me how much of your merchandise is selling right now for off your website.
Not too much.
And so, and then I saw a couple of the designs. So again, please don't take this the wrong way. I haven't looked at a whole site or anything like that. But is there? I did see. I believe there's a shirt with some boots.
Right. It's the Soldier Memorial.
Okay. And so that goes along with maybe a song.
Right.
And
the 22 song.
And now, when people listen to that song or displayed the merch from that song and the things that go along with it, and then or they're able to maybe send that and share it and even send that shirt along with that music. Now I'm gonna get a little bit advanced as well. Is what if you were to give a NFT with that song and a digital boots on what we're talking about, but it's a song that they're downloading, but now you accompany it with an NFT, or you accompany it with what you're doing on media or with what you're doing in your community, and it's at the same price, but it's not for somebody to actually get. It's for them to share, and the shirt goes to them, and the song goes to them, and so now you just not double whammy, but now you got to purchase and the support, and it's because they align with what that song is, and they want to share, and they're proud of it, and they can tap their feet to it. It's a connection that they make, not just with your music, but with you and the words, and of course the merch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh no, I agree. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, when I went to Hawaii, I visited to stay or went on a personal journey. And the universe told me I was going to write a series of children's sign language books. I kind of laughed. This was my next purpose. And I walked down to the mall and I saw the Tree of Folk Manus puppets. And I could put my hands in, I could sign the glove puppets with the bee. And, you know, later during the journey, I met some military people over there that brought me up to do a show with DJ Benny at Fort Schaffner Army Base. And by putting the puppets on the tables, it was a thank you luncheon and shaking the soldiers' hands with a sign language chicken in my hand. I mean, looking back in retrospect, I'm like, you were really crazy, but you know, it did. It lightened up the world and putting the different puppets on the table. You should have seen the family people interact by putting the little mini puppets in front of the other person's face, putting the red octopus on someone's head. We did it at different places with senior citizens who met up in Burger King. These retired Hawaiian major singers that would meet at Burger King to play music in the Burger King store and passing the puppets around and having fun. And so, yeah, it's great fun family entertainment. And I know, you know, it sounds like, you know, we test the market here and, you know, now we need to, you know, bring it onto radio. We need to bring them into animation movies so you can actually, you know the series, hear the good stories behind it, and share the good news with it. So, yes, it's great fun for all. And we also have the acting. So I'm looking again forward with Jay Stone. We had a great marketing meeting this morning of how to get this creativity with the Acts of Kindness series, with the books, the YouTube videos, with meeting the characters, learning the sign language, ASL finger spelling alphabet, playing the Apple app games, and yeah, having the merchandise. But my vision is to bring them into animation movies. So thank you so much, Kurt Roscoff, for providing all these great meetings this morning, and especially you, you know, lifting us up, getting this grant that's all high vibes, putting it out to the universe of what you want, and how you're going to share that with the world as well. So thank you so much for letting me be a guest. I'm Marianne of YPP. Aloha.
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 That's great to hear and wonderful in regard to that. And Marianne, that's why I mentioned that I wanted to follow up with you, because I think that everything that you're going to be positioning, and now that we're jumping into that, is exactly that. Is by them or anyone that does buy the books, and then you have a digital download that they can share, but it's only one digital download that they can share for free, so that they can share their product and be proud of it and or extend it. And again, no, we're not just because we want to get Marianne to get more money, but because of the visibility, because of the mission. So again, it goes back to and just business wise a little bit of in between to make sure that your guys' mission gets a little bit more extended, it gets a little bit more spread out, that it gets a little bit more support. And that's, you know, again, the marketing world, for me, it's easy because that's what I love to do. So same thing with Dan and his music, that's what he loves to do. That's why he's a musician, not a marketer. That's why I'm not a musician. I'm a marketer. I've never told anyone that I can play the guitar very well. And you know what? Because I simply can't. So I stay
All
in
right,
my lane.
I am back.
I stay in my lane. I stay in the supportive. I stay in where I can and I contribute. But we have to understand, just because we're not great marketers doesn't mean that the music is not great, that you don't have the mission yet. So that's why, again, I accompany you on your mission. I accompany you in support in regards to the journey that you're on. Absolutely. To kind of make some adjustments and some suggestions to get just a little bit honing in and getting that dialed in. It was wonderful receptiveness with Marianne. Some surprises along the way when we did that first side audit. She thought it was some certain things that I was pointing out were already done. So again, it also has to do, and if I don't
All right.
I think we just lost him.
No, I'm saying I'm not going to sell them. It's not about me selling. It's about me serving. And it goes above the giving a transaction. It's more about the mission. It's more about the movement, because the universe takes care of the rest. So again, continue to, and we're definitely glad that you're continuing on the journey. Don't give up. And Marianne, you see the light was there, and you were granted that other opportunity. So definitely look forward to working and collaborating in whichever perspective we can.
Excellent. Thank you, Christian. And also want to have a big thanks to you, Dan. We did a little bit of emailing through Jay, and you took a leap of faith and hopped on in here, devoted your afternoon to, be with us, Dan. And we literally threw you to the wolves, led by Nightwolf. So we've got quite a crew here. Thank you, Marianne and John and Barbara and so Christian. So everybody here on our Zoom session is welcome to stay on for any post-show camaraderie and follow-up banter. But if any of you as guests need to take off to other things, Dan, you spent a couple hours with us, so you get back to things. Otherwise, you can hang with us a little bit after. We're gonna wrap this up. This has been your production of World of Ability Podcast by the World of Ability Podcast Network. And we keep growing here and doing more showing here. And we always love what our guests have to tell. So this is our show and tell session here for today, July 27, 2024, the day after the anniversary date of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So the question I want to leave everybody with today: what have you done? What are you doing now? And what will you be doing later with a community member with a disability? That's the opportunity for people with disabilities and people without disabilities and those that are in the disability community. What are we doing to help educate those of us that don't have a disability to make this world a better place in consideration of all with disabilities? And don't forget our devotion to our veterans. We want to make all parts of life work better for our veterans. It is an all hands on deck initiative. And remember, it is a life or death matter, because veteran suicide continues to climb and is on the rise. We need everybody to play a role. Support our vets, check your vets, and let's just create this healing all around the world. I'm Kurt Roska with the World Ability Podcast, and we are out of here. So Sue, Emily, let's shut her down and let's make this a private VIP session that nobody else can hear. What stays on Zoom stays on Zoom.
What stays on Zoom stays on Zoom.
Recording stopped.
Dan, it's okay. Kurt doesn't get out very often, so he has to put